All right, folks, quick little review of this, I guess it's a 24 Dodge Hornet RT. We rented this, my wife and I, for a trip we took out west. We went to Cape Disappointment, Washington. Sorry for my finger there. But drove a little car out and little SUV, I guess. Very sporty. It's the RT. It's got the dual exhaust. Got some water still on it there. I washed it off. Try to clean it up a little bit. Four-wheel disc brakes. It even has the Dodge script on the side of the disc brakes there. It's got vents in the hood that go into the turbocharged engine. I still got some bugs I didn't get completely off. But it looks better than it did when we picked it up, I think, or at least as good, so that's what counts. And turbocharged little engine. It's a plug-in hybrid, meaning that it doesn't recharge the battery as you drive it. It is simply recharging based upon plugging it in. Here's the plug area. Plug it in right there. I plugged it in for, I don't know, 8 hours or something like that. It got me about 26 miles. So it's not a long distance car when it comes to the electrical charge. The engine runs great. It will do well on the highway. I think it got about 32 miles per gallon. You can see the interior here. Looks pretty nice. I like the red stitching on the trim, on the dash. That looks really nice. Stereo seems to work pretty well. And this is a car we rented, so don't have a lot of, haven't driven it long term. I think we had it a couple of weeks now. It's the fuel door. You have to press a button inside. It has to depressurize and then it'll open up for you. The latch back here opens up. You have a pass-through if you have skis or something. It has a quick fix or a fix-and-go inflator here. It's got a funnel in case you need to put fuel in it somewhere from a can or something. It has the cord. So everything's good there. Close it down. For me, probably some of the biggest things that I would look at. Let me see if I can get the key. This is a great review, isn't it? I don't intend for this to be anything lengthy. I love this. It looks really sporty. That's the thing I really like about it. The RT with the dual exhaust, nice wheels, the big brakes on the front. It handles great. It drives great. It's a very good little vehicle. I like the dash. Let me see if it'll actually show you what's going on with the dash here. There we go. Needs to be serviced, so it's going to tell you some things that aren't. Ooh. All right, whatever. It's going to tell you some things. Let me see if I can start it up here. Oh, that is started. That's all we got. Parking brakes over here, electric parking brake. It's ready to be serviced. And that's about it. The button here on the console turns on your entertainment display. One of the things I didn't like about it, the CarPlay with Apple seemed to it didn't connect. Whatever you had playing last didn't always connect. It was kind of a pain there. Starting the thing's kind of like trying to get the space shuttle off the ground. You have to hit the button, turn this off, crank this up, make sure everything's going to display correctly. Like I said, it only gets about 25, 30 miles. It might get 50 out of a full charge. I don't know. But overall, I was really happy with the little car. I thought it did a great job. I would not be in the market for one of these. The complexity of it, and my concern would be that the thing would just lay down one day and wouldn't go again. But it's nice. It rides. If it were, I'll say this: if there were no hybrid component, if it were just the engine and the turbo, I'd probably be much more interested in it. Just because it runs good. It runs really well, but it doesn't, it's not going to knock out 40 miles per gallon. This 42 is because I charged it up and took it for a lap around and did some things with it with just the battery. You can see we've got 24 miles left on this charge on the battery, and we've got about 130 miles left in terms of fuel on the car. That's really it. It's a nice vehicle. Can't say anything negative about it. Does a great job, I think, and did a great job. We got to Washington State and back with no problems. And thank you to Budget Rent-A-Car, and thank you to Dodge for making a really nice vehicle. I like the tail lights on it. Tail lights are really neat. Again, I think it's a nice little car. Pretty cool. So that's not much of a review, but a little bit of a review. Let me pop the hood so you can at least see what this engine looks like. And that'll be all she wrote for this kind of abbreviated review of the car. Dipstick is underneath the filler cap here. You open the filler cap and out comes the dipstick. The turbo's right here. Got the wastegate things. I think it's a 4-cylinder. A little 4-cylinder engine. I don't know what size. I haven't looked at that. And doesn't really matter. It did what I wanted it to do. So it runs well. Again, does great. Fairly seamless transition between electric and the gasoline. I may try to get a shot of that as I'm driving it up the road here in a bit. So that's about it. 2024 Dodge Hornet RT, and we're gonna take it and turn it back in. All right, you are now free to move about the country, I guess. It was beeping. Let's go up the road here. You can see it says it's time to service the car. I agree. It'll get serviced at Budget. You can see that right now we are running, well, I don't know if you can see it or not, we are running on battery. There is no, we are not running on the engine. And in fact, it should probably run on battery for about 24 miles. It will run on battery before it switches over to the gasoline. So for right now, it's going to run on battery, and then at some point we will switch over to gasoline. But for the little while at least, we're going to be using this. So when it's ready to switch over, I'll try to document that for you. All right, as I'm driving along, I'm thinking of things that I didn't really care for. This is one. This is a little compartment. You can put your cell phone down in there, but if you need to charge your cell phone and you have to do it with a cable, it won't fit. That's a problem. I thought, if it's one of those cableless chargers, maybe that would be pretty cool. But I don't, to the best of my knowledge, it isn't that. So that's one of the things I don't care for. I don't care necessarily for the adaptive cruise control, because that, if you're in very much traffic, it's really sensitive. I tried to back the sensitivity down, but it's really sensitive. And so what it does, if there's a car in the right lane, you're in the left lane, it'll still sometimes just, it'll put the binders on. I mean, it'll start braking like you haven't seen before. And you'll have to, you either have to turn it off and drive without it, or not, or just be okay with the fact that at some point it's going to drop you at least 5 miles per hour by jamming on the brakes. That was something I didn't care for very much, but you know, I kind of worked with that, figured out how to handle that a little bit better. Mostly in a lot of traffic, I would turn it off and just drive through towns and things. If I were going to stay in my lane, it's fine. If you switch lanes, or you're going to be passing somebody, sometimes it was a pain. So those are a couple of the things, I guess, that didn't necessarily, to me, didn't feel like they worked the way they should have. You can hear the whine of the electric motors. We're down to 21 miles now on the charge. Okay, folks, a couple of notes on the Hornet here. As I've read about it some more, it is a rebadged Alfa Romeo Tonale, I think is how you say it. It's a PHEV, which means it's a plug-in hybrid vehicle, as I said there. It has regenerative braking, which means that the brakes will recharge the battery to some extent, and it will charge when it's coasting. The experience that we had was that it would charge as you were coasting down hills, going through the mountains, of course, long downhill grades. Did a great job of engine braking, I guess you could say. It wasn't really engine braking, but it was braking based upon the regenerative brakes. So it did a great job in the mountains from that perspective. It's supposed to have Brembo brakes, so no wonder it braked so well. It's supposed to be all-wheel drive, which also helps to make me understand better what the car was doing. It's a 1.3 liter inline-4 engine. It's supposed to have 288 total net horsepower with the hybrid system. $41,400 base price. That's a bit much, and it's supposed to have a 77 mile per gallon fuel economy. If you charge the battery and you use nothing but the battery for the 77 miles, maybe. But in terms of just driving the vehicle, no. Some complaints that I saw online about this car: a little bit cramped in the passenger compartment. The second row has no legroom. I would agree with that. Pretty high starting price. Not a lot of storage. Some road noise that you have as well. We rented a Toyota RAV4 last year, and the RAV4 seemed to have a lot more room in it, and we were very comfortable with that. So we liked it a little better, or truthfully probably a lot better, than the Hornet RT, even though I thought this was a pretty nice little car. Very sporty. Once you're up to highway speed, it performed very well, so I didn't have any trouble with that whatsoever. Has about 3 recalls already, one of which is based upon potentially loose battery cable, something like that. So there are a few things that that you might find with the vehicle. Again, I thought it was pretty nice. Thought it did a great job. Would have liked more room, but we didn't reserve a car with more room. So next time we're going to do that. We learned our lesson on that. Go check it out. Go do a little examination of it. All-wheel drive, 6-speed automatic. And you're supposed to use premium unleaded. It only has an 11-gallon fuel tank. So you're going to find yourself, if you don't charge it up, you're going to be getting gas about every 250 miles. And that's pretty much the standard, I suppose. Again, take a look at it. Go do a little examination. And I hope this review, which is very minimal and very modest, I hope it might help a little bit with some of the information that you might need.